The BBC Newsnight interview was not only disastrous for Prince Andrew, it was a real turning point in how the royal family was going to deal with him. William was absolutely steadfast in his view that Andrew should have no place in the royal family in future. What sent William on a collision course with the late Queen and his father Charles was his view of how to deal with Andrew. He thought he should be banished from royal life before the rot set in, he said. And he was very, very determined in that view. He thought that if Andrew wasn't put out of the picture, if he wasn't exiled from royal life, then his association with the wider institution could be hugely, hugely damaging for the monarchy. Well, we've seen from the evidence of what happened. The late Queen tried to protect Andrew right up until the very last moment. She wanted him to be kept close. Of course, he was her son. She wanted to protect him. The direction of the late Queen and Charles really set William on a collision course with them because he was very, very steadfast in his view. He thought that Andrew should have no place within the royal family or indeed the wider royal fold with a public role. So with the Queen protecting him right up until the very last moment, forcing him to step back from his duties, but not essentially exiling him from the wider family, William disagreed with that. And certainly he disagreed with the late Queen and Charles as well. Charles wanted to protect his brother because that is exactly what the Queen asked him to do. But if it had been William's choice, he would have pulled the plug on Andrew having a role with the royal family from the very first instance. William had an opinion of how to deal with Andrew, but he was certainly respectful of the late Queen's wishes and his father's as well. The issue with a constitutional and hierarchical monarchy is there is a level which you need to slot into, and William was completely respectful of that. William's never been close to his uncle Andrew, that goes without saying, but he's always viewed him as a bit of a thorn in the side of the royal family. He's always viewed him as an ignoramus. He's not appreciated how Andrew has treated his staff. Andrew has a bit of a reputation of being a bully. He's got a reputation of not being very kind to staff, which goes against everything that William and Catherine have fostered within their own teams. They take care of people, they're respectful of people's family lives, and certainly Andrew has never had that relationship with people who've worked with him. The issue with the scandal which has enveloped the royal family to do with Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor has been a real stain on the royal family. However, William and Catherine have certainly separated his misdemeanours and his behaviours away from his daughters. They've got very good relationships with Beatrice and Eugenie. I don't think that will ever change because William and Catherine certainly feel that Beatrice and Eugenie have had no role in their parents' indiscretions, of course. They're very, very separate to their dealings with Jeffrey Epstein. They've led very different lives. They're not senior working members of the family. And, you know, they have different families, of course. So whilst their relationship may have changed with Andrew and Sarah Ferguson, they still have a close relationship with the daughters. Well, what we've seen in recent months is that the King had to make a decision on Andrew. Arguably, the decision should have been taken by the late Queen and even sooner by King Charles. But because of the latest Epstein files, because of the public sense of revulsion of Andrew's relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, King Charles had to make a decision. And of course, that was massively supported by William. And if King Charles hadn't have taken that action when he did, then it would have been one of the first points on William's agenda when he became king, because in his view, Andrew should have had no role within the royal family, publicly or otherwise.